little bit different, and I'm super excited for it. We're a little late, but it is the top 10 of the games we reviewed for 2021. So super exciting. So we took a list of everything we've reviewed.
That was new to us.
That was new to us.
Yeah, I didn't agree with that part of it, but well.
Well, if not, it would have been the top 10 Rob games again.
Okay, I'm still fine with that.
It would have been the same list you've already got.
I'm okay with that.
So we decided to miss it. It has to be new to us. But I think there was plenty to choose from because we had a lot of unexpected, amazing games that we played last year.
A ton.
I know. There was a lot that we were pleasantly surprised with. So, so let's get into it. All right. So number 10 is going to be Guildmaster for me. So this one was quite a bit of fun where you got to play the Guildmaster. You got to recruit heroes and send them on different adventures. And you're trying to beat all the other guilds, aka the other players, and capturing the most victory points, loot, and other things. So I actually had a lot of fun with this.
It's a fun game.
I love the fantasy themed games. And as much as I like adventuring, the whole Guildmaster aspect of getting to manage a little bit of resources and sending out different teams.
A little different.
I actually really liked it. In fact, I think I like it a little bit more. So for me, that one is very memorable, and I was able to remember it and be like, hey, I really like that one. So that's why I put that at my number 10. Rob, what do you have for number 10?
My number 10 was Forgotten Waters. I think that it was an excellent game. I love the app integration of it. I think it's probably one of the best ones of that type of game still to this date with that app integration. Was so well voice acted. It was funny. It was a fun game. I'm looking forward to playing the other storylines of it as well. So yeah. Forgotten Waters, awesome.
All right. So Randy, if I'm allowed to point to you now.
Number 10 for me was Korra, Rise of an Empire. It was one that took us by surprise that we got at Gen Con. It was the first game we played when we got back, and it knocked our socks off. It was from Yalo, and it's not the kind of game they've historically released. It's the first of their expert series, and they haven't released any more yet, but we're now eagerly anticipating what's going to come from that.
Yes, very excited about that.
Because that one, the game is amazing. It does feel like there might be some advantageous characters, but apart from the little bit of balancing issue potentially, it was a lot of fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I won that one.
You were so excited.
I was.
We played that again with my little brother. He kicked her butts. Okay. So number 9, not surprising, I also have this on my list. Korra is again number 9.
I thought you would have had an honorable mention.
I'm going to stab him with a fork. All right, Robert, what's your number 9?
Number 9 is The Hunger. I thought this was another Gen Con pickup that we did. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to play with you guys. I played it at Gen Con, where you guys didn't get to play until you brought it home, I believe.
Yes.
But a really good, kind of light horror themed game, and where you're vampires and you're trying to go around the track, and it's got some really interesting deck building elements to it. I like that a lot. The cards, the art's beautiful, so it's a really neat game.
I was really excited that Randy burned up.
Did you catch on fire?
Yeah, I spontaneously combusted.
Yeah, I won just by the fact.
You were okay with that?
Yeah, I was. I made it safely. And he was like trying to collect.
Too long.
Yeah, no, he tried to collect all these points, and I was like, "You ain't gonna get back in time," and he did not.
I got really close. I got really close.
You did. But not.
She got to watch me burn from the castle.
I did.
She felt really good about it.
I did. I really did.
That's my number 9, The Hunger.
All right, cool. Randy, what's your number 9?
My number 9 was Sorcerer City. This one was on my shelf for a while. This was a 2020 release, and it was one of the makers of Whistle Mountain, which we loved. So I was really eager to try it once I discovered that, and once I got it out, I was like, "This didn't disappoint."
I actually liked it more than I thought it would.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was going to be that good.
Yeah,
and so
I was really pleasant.
So I was happy with it, and the artwork's is great.
And it's one of the few games where there's the whole rapid, time-based system that didn't seem to fluster anybody or get. It seemed like super easy at first. We were like, "Oh, this is easy," and then the next round, I was like, does that timer get shorter?
Right.
It's like,
and I think that's where I went in, because I just kept hearing how light of a game it was, so I didn't know if I was going to like it that much. But it was surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
I don't remember this one. Listen, guys, they make me play so many games. Like they gave me the list, and I was like, "Wait, which one?"
Bless her heart, she's making it sound like she's a prisoner of war or something.
Listen, I had to listen to our own reviews to remember what I thought about certain games.
They're torturing me with so many
No,
things.
I mean, I just would like to play games more than once. That's all. All right. So number 8 for me was Whirling Witchcraft. So that was
It's a
actually
fun
a
game.
fairly new one. Probably why it's on here because I can remember it. No, but I liked it. I like this one for a lot of reasons. We were able to play with Sarah, and it was a lot of fun. There's a little bit of push your luck, but I really can't wait till Randy sits on this side of me when we play.
Now, is that one of the ones I taught you? Did I teach that to you at Big Game Night?
Yeah, because you were our designated driver
That's
at
right.
Big Game Night.
Yeah. And so I really like the fact that, I feel like that it's very accessible to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And I really would love to be able to shove it to Randy like, as much as I can. So, because he kept giving me all these freaking stuff, and I just
Which
wanted
is the
to
whole
give it
point
back
of the
to him.
game.
I feel a lot of love hit the table today.
Listen, you make me, well, this is what you get. All right, what about you, Robert? What was your number 8?
My number 8 is Iberian Gauge, which is I believe the third game of the Iron Rail series by Capstone Games, and I just really like the simplicity of the game. Tool's artwork is always great, so I like that. It's a little bit, I think, a little bit more complex than the other 2 games in the series. That's why I probably liked it as much as I did. Iberian Gauge, really good.
Okay. What about you, Randy?
Number 8 for me, this one was a big surprise for me because I heard mixed reviews. I was a little iffy on even buying it, but it was a deal of the day, so I picked it up from Card House, and I was not disappointed. It's Red Rising. Turned out the game was way better than I expected it to be, and I somehow clicked with this game. I'm undefeated in it so far. And, I love the mechanics of it. It's just, it's easy to teach, easy to get to the table, but there's a lot of meat to the strategy in that game.
Yeah, I remember when I first brought it, and then we learned off that copy, and then you got it, but then how you guys didn't even really relate to the books, where I did, and it's still that good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot more about the books, and it still felt that theme come through. I really liked Red Rising.
Okay.
So.
Cool. All right. So off to number 7. For me, it was Coffee Traders. So I had on my list, I had to put one of those heavier games, and there wasn't that many that were new to us this year. But this one, it was super surprising, super amazing. You really got to build your own coffee empire, and I loved the theme for this because you had that ledger was your player board and got to move things around. So there was a lot of great things that happened with this, and I that's what I wanted it to make sure that it got recognized for the amazingness of that game. So
It is beautiful.
It is very beautiful. All right, what about you, Robert?
My number 7 was Yato Deluxe, and so I actually never played Yato before we played Yato Deluxe. And so that's why it's new to me, even though the game's been out for some time. But absolutely beautiful game.
It is a beautiful
It's brutal, but it's fun and just gorgeous. And you really just knocked it out of the park. It's such a good game.
Oh, I just wish they had a better integration to allow you to play the way the original one was, as opposed to making it so you had to play by the new rules you set up, because it made it much harder for me to teach it to you.
Right.
And and even the designer agreed with us that the rule book didn't turn out exactly how he'd hoped, but it's still a great game.
Yeah.
Number 7 for me, this is one that we got to the table a lot when we first got it. We still get it to the table quite regularly, and it's another easy to teach one. That seems to be a common thing for me, is I like games that are easy to teach but have a lot of meat to them, and this one's Hadara. This one was a huge hit with the family and friends.
We played this one a lot this year, and considering all the new games we go through, when we replay, especially multiple times, it's a solid game.
Well, it's those games that it's easy to teach your family in particular, and I think that because it's got so much, we liked it so much, but then be able to, your family likes it so much, it just gives us that opportunity.
Yeah, they
play
like
it as much as we do.
They like games that is easy to teach, but some growth to it, because they are
they get better.
They're well-established gamers, but trying to take the time.
You just don't have the access that we do to games.
Right, exactly. So that's why I definitely think that this.
It's the oldest. It's the oldest game on my list in 2019. I got another one at 2019, but it's newer than that one. But it's one that was on our shelf for a long time. Never got it out. Didn't know how good it was, and when my sister started playing it, it's like, I better go give it a try, and I have not been disappointed.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't put in my first look at a game that I think is the same way for me was First Class. I mean, you would have that for a long time, but just how good it was.
Yeah.
It's very surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year has been a bunch of full of surprises.
Yeah.
Like even some of the small box games I got you for your birthday.
Yeah,
you were all
small box games,
we were all like, oh, Randy's like, oh, small box, because I was just trying to do a little bit of filler. And then lo and behold, they were really freaking good. And I think this year we've had a lot of, surprise some surprise games in there that's turned out fantastic. All right, so now let's talk about number 6.
Yep.
For me, which was Witchstone, because this one there's a bit of puzzle mechanisms. There's multiple ways to score. I really like the theme of the game because you have a little bit of Ticket to Ride up here. You have a little bit of not quite Tetris, but a puzzle down here. And then there's a couple of tracks that you got to go up. So I liked, had a really good flow to the game. The theme didn't make the theme was all witchcraft, but like what the crystal ball had to do with traveling, whatever. But I still liked it. I still enjoyed it. It was a really fun game. And we actually played that one a couple of times. So,
well, I haven't got to play it. It looks neat, but my coworker Christian and his wife Maya played with you guys. They liked it so much they went and bought it.
Yeah.
So,
right. It's a good game.
That's it must be a good game.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So what about you? What's your number 6?
My number 6 was one already previously mentioned by both Randy and Miranda, but that's Cora. I like Cora quite a bit.
Yeah, that's
and
one.
so
that one's ranked pretty high.
that's the reason why it's higher on my list is it really hit home for me. I liked all the aspects of the game, and it was meaty, but it's not super meaty because I'm really for whatever reason I'm finding that my personal tastes are getting to where I don't like I love super heavy games, but I'm liking the medium to heavy games more as the more I play.
Yeah.
And so, I'll definitely play the super heavy games, but my enjoyment is higher on those medium to heavy
and
games.
I think there's also something to be about like the super meaty games. For me, when I have to learn them every single time, it's difficult. But when you play a heavy meaty game over and over and over again, I find a lot more enjoyment in that because the rules are familiar. You're not having to go through that brutal, like, oh, wait, what? How does this work? Like, and I think that's been kind of the sad me. It was like, hey, I want to play this heavier game more than once because it took an hour to learn. So yeah.
The other thing Cora's got going for it's just gorgeous too.
Yeah, absolutely. So. All right, what about you? What's your number 6?
Well, number 6 already been mentioned, but Coffee Traders. I bought that was a complete blind buy. I had no idea it was even coming out. I didn't know what it was. I just saw it and I was like, oh, it looks like it's got mechanics like what we like. I picked it up. I went to the shop and couldn't believe how big the box was. I was
like,
it weighs a ton.
It's heavy. It's huge. I'm like, oh my, I didn't know what I was in for. And then I got home and you were in the other room when I opened it. And I'm like, oh, we got to do an unboxing on this because it's beautiful. I did not expect that. I mean, it was... I not been familiar with Capstone games being that gorgeous, and I don't think any of them were really that gorgeous up until that point.
I always thought all Capstone games are pretty. I mean, you got Pipeline, and you got all these really cool games, but Coffee Traders really goes to the nines.
Yeah, it's a way above and beyond any of the other ones I've seen, and now Capstone Games is among my favorite designers. The publishers. I look for anytime a game comes out that sounds interesting, like Corrosion just the other day.
Yeah.
I immediately order it.
They got I forget the name of it, but there's one coming out in February that looks fantastic.
Okay, well I haven't seen that, so I'm definitely going to be checking that one out.
All right, so number 5 for me. So as a kid, I always loved Clue, but as an adult, it's a little simple. So
I still suck at it though.
That's because Randy does it to a whole different level.
Well,
like we've played.
I like to think I think logically, but that's Mr. Logic puzzle.
I know, right?
And there's just no competing.
You should try it with Sam.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right. So, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about Clue. What came in surprisingly is that awkward guest.
Yes.
It's like the adult version of Clue. It's so awesome, and it's a lot more realistic in the fact that it's, well,
it's more approachable, I think.
Yeah, well, and it's like you get different clues, but then trying to figure out the pathway that the murderer went, and like what was already in the room when they listen.
So
if you get the Clue Jones, but are like
I want something better.
I'm a little older. I don't have a 3-year-old to make an excuse. Not a 3-year-old, but like my 8-year-old loves to play Clue. So it's like, if you don't have that excuse, play this one.
Yeah,
this one,
much better.
Fantastic. I'm
glad you brought it up because I wanted it on my list. It didn't quite make the cut.
Right.
It was there was 4 games that I had I wrote them and changed them in and out. I'm like, no,
that was one of them.
That was one of them.
Yeah. All right. What about you? What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Praga Caput Regni. I think that was a huge surprise for me.
Oh, yes.
That just how really good the game is. I mean, the components are pretty cool as well. I mean, you got the different cardboard.
Well, the story is so unique.
But the fact
eggs.
about that bridge and how it was made out of eggs, and it's just such a cool game, and it would blew me away just how good it really was.
It was so hard to learn that game.
Yeah, it was difficult, but man, it just we sank our teeth into it eventually, and it just was such a fulfilling, satisfying game.
Yeah.
I really like Praga. So.
All right, what about you? What's your number 5?
Number 5 for me was another one that was a big surprise. This is my other 2019 game, and that's The Magnificent. Yeah. I loved that game.
You really did. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah.
It was beautiful. The colors are just vibrant. They're real dark, and then the lights that almost look neon. The look that looks kind of Great Gatsby look on the art. And yet it's set in a circus, and it's just the Tetris components of it are there. I love Tetris type games. You got that. You had all kinds of ways to score in it. There was just a lot of fun, and sad that I haven't got back to the table since.
Oh, yeah. We don't like sad, Randy.
I know.
All right. So number 4, we're getting into the good stuff, guys.
Yeah, I thought they were all good stuff.
They were all good stuff, but it's like these were the
cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop. For me, number 4 was Hadrian's Wall. I love that roll and write. That is one intense roll and write. You got 2 pages to create your Roman Empire, and I loved it. I will say, I still have yet to use the gladiators.
Yeah, I never used the gladiators either. But
yeah, I know you had, and I don't think I've even done the theater either.
I've done the theater, but I target that top row with trying to get the different
market the trading.
Yeah, the trading thing where you're 2 and that's 3. I love that one.
Well, I'll tell you I've been really the religion track was I found a lot of benefit in too. So,
such a good game.
So if you haven't played the game, it's good. It's really good. If you're looking,
you might hear it come up a few more times.
Yeah, you maybe, and except the fact that you're probably going to kill a couple trees every time you buy this game.
Yeah. All right. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Bonfire. Stefan Feld game. Generally, you don't go wrong with his games. Bonfire was awesome. It's just component-wise, it was great. Point salad game. I love it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you had it on yours.
Baby Yoda.
I'm glad this was on your list.
I'm glad this one and Praga both, because they were both in the game. Ones that were my contenders.
If you've not played this game, play it. It's just hands down fantastic. Love it.
Yep, Bonfire is a really good one. What's your number 4, Randy?
Number 4 is one that should be on everybody's list, Lost Ruins of Arnak. It was such a great game.
It's up there. It wasn't on my list, but it's like number 11.
It was so good.
So good.
I mean, it came out at the same time frame as Dune Imperium. We didn't like Dune Imperium nearly as much.
Which we seem to be in the minority.
Yeah,
we talk to other people. People love Dune Imperium more than Lost Ruins. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't.
Lost Ruins is we don't like conflict-y type games, and I think that's part of it. And it feels like there's a whole in Dune Imperium. There's very restrictive.
I just think Lost Ruins is more approachable. I mean, it just makes sense more. There's the overall gameplay.
I think it's more more solo action in it, where you can do your own thing and build your own thing, which is why you like it more. But I like the fact that there's the tracks to move up. We're still waiting for the expansion, which I'm eager to get. We played it at Gen Con.
Supposedly. So.
We played it at Gen Con. I still don't know exactly how I feel about the adding in the variable player powers, because sometimes
that's what I'm looking forward to, is trying the asynchronous ability.
But I do like the fact that they've altered the
I thought they were fine. I mean, we got to play the demo of it, and I thought the powers were fine and equal.
Yeah, they didn't feel bad, the ones we played.
I mean, it didn't feel like it added much either, but I think it was all right. So.
But I mean, anything that's going to enhance the game. I mean, it's already great. So
great game.
It's a great game. It is a good game. All right, number 3. You've heard this one before. Hadara. This one I love me some good card games, and this one is definitely one of them good card games. I mean, like I said, we played a lot. It had to be on my list. All right, number 3 for you.
Uwe Rosenberg's newest game, Hallertau. Again, just not to go into a whole lot of detail, but it's just one of his best. All of his games are farm themed, pretty much for the most part, especially his big box games. And it's his newest big box game, but it's just so good. I think it's up there with Le Havre. I mean, I like it that much, and Le Havre is probably my favorite Rosenberg game. So it's way up there.
This was the fourth of my ones that I really wanted on this list. And I couldn't fit.
I wish I would have remembered this game because it's a really fun game. I kicked your butts at it. It was fantastic.
The reason it didn't quite make it for me was I still feel like the house moving is almost so powerful you have to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't like the fact that it was, it felt like you were forced into one strategy.
Your house. You have to grow your house.
Well, I mean, it's not a SFL game, so it's not as point salad.
Yeah.
So and that's why Randy down.
That's why it was like it was on the cusp. It was quite because I liked the aspects that were point salad-y in it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of ways to score, but it just felt like that one was so much more powerful. Right. You almost had to do that.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's a Agricola where Agricola you have to get workers, right? Like.
Well, yeah,
you have to build your house.
But once you start building the house, and if you focus exclusively on that, it scores you a ton of points.
Right.
But unlike Agricola, I think Hallertau's a lot more approachable. There's nowhere near as much stuff that you have to add to it that's available like Agricola's got. So
I think with Agricola, the issue for you is that if you play with a group that plays regularly and they get to know the cards and they have their own set strategies, it's hard. The barrier to entry.
I can't play it that well, so I haven't been able to.
So because I think Agricola is a great game. It's the barrier to entry.
Well, I mean, really is because we play so much online.
Yeah.
Like we know what's coming up, and it's just like, oh, these are the I barely have to. I just look at the names on the occupations. I know what the cards read, so I know which ones I want and don't want. Not until I get to the 4 or 5 players, and then I have to be like, wait, what's that one?
But number 3, Hallertau. Play it if you haven't.
All right. What's your number 3?
Number
Randy?
3, I guess I like this a little more than Rob because I got Forgotten Waters here. I loved that game. I still love that game. It's so fun, and it's one we could get Alex to play with us because it's just fun. It's a funny story, well implemented with the app. It's just a real
so well done.
It's an amazing game. I see that there's another story based game coming out from them, so I'm eager to see what that is. I don't know if it's another full app driven one like this one is or not, but I saw it just in the recent pre-orders that there's a new one coming.
Cool.
So we're off to number 2. Now, mine 2 and number 1, there was a battle inside of me. So
who won?
So for number 2 was Kitchen Rush. And listen, because when you play with Randy, he takes a lot of time thinking through his strategy. This game does not allow that.
Well, yeah, but this is a teamwork game, so you have to work as a team on it.
I've not had to play this game, but it does look fun.
Listen, so I do like games that you work as a team with a little bit, but there is someone that ends up winning, right? And so I like both of those mechanics. And the fact is that it is a time limit. So what you're getting into, how long the game's going to be because you're setting the timer.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually do like the rush component of games. It's one of the reasons why I like Galaxy Trucker because you're trying to get those tiles quickly. There's the Pendulum, right? Pendulum is another one of them games that have that timing mechanism that I really appreciate.
But the timers don't work.
Well, hey.
In Kitchen Rush, they work fine.
Yeah, Kitchen Rush, it works fine.
Better.
So I like, because for me, when I like to play games, I do a kind of almost gut reaction. Oh, this is what I think is the best. And there's certain time frames that I just want to be like, hey, let's just play a quick game. I don't want to, and I want a complex game, but I don't want to sit there and wait for everybody's turn.
Right.
So I think this is why this is on there. It's fast paced. It's quick. There's still a lot to do though. And I like the teamwork aspect of it too. So I really enjoyed this game. I want to play this again. So, all right. What's your number 2?
All right. My number 2 is probably, it's not my favorite Euro, but I think it was my favorite Euro of last year. Component-wise, just absolutely gorgeous. And it's Alma Mater.
I
It
know,
is
that was
such a good game. I think it ranks higher than like Hallertau and some of the others just because I think it's more approachable. It's easier to teach. I've been able to teach it to some people that don't like deeper games as much, but they were able to sink their teeth into it and enjoy it as much as I did. So component-wise, it's great. It's play-wise, it's great, and it's approachable by more than just really deep, that like the heavier games. So alma mater. Fantastic game. It's my number 1 Euro for last year.
Okay. All right. What's your number 2, Randy?
Number 2, again, already mentioned. Got it on my list. Number 2, Hadrian's Wall. It was such a great game.
Mm-hmm.
You brought it down, and I immediately ordered it.
Yep.
Because
it was immediate.
Yeah,
it was
it
was like in the middle of the
I think
game.
he was playing the game when he ordered.
I was literally. I don't think we even got to that. We were reading the rules to learn the game, and I was ordering it. And it was such a good game.
And you knew nothing about it, right?
No,
when I brought it.
No, we didn't know, and it was tough reading through the rules. But then once you actually started looking at the sheets and were able to match things
everything
up,
makes so much sense.
Just logically, iconography is wonderful in the game, and you can just match everything and fill in the boxes.
Yep.
And and everybody does it differently, and everybody runs their own strategy. And you really don't care whether you win or lose because you're just having fun filling in all the boxes.
Right. Well, the thing
and then
is,
how angry you get when you don't compete or you don't get all the barbarians defeated. You're like,
oh!
Yeah.
No, right.
Six left?
in the middle?
Really?
What's going on? There's no way they're all in the middle, but they're all
Right,
in the middle.
right. It's like, oh man, when you like build it and you're like, oh no, I got plenty, and then you're just, the thing about, and I think you're spot on why we like this game so much. You're building your own thing, and I always like to say I want to build better than you.
Yeah,
like
leave me alone.
Leave me
build
alone
my
and let me
things.
build my thing. And so Hadrian's Wall does that. But that's part of one of the reasons why I like a lot of the roll and writes we deal with. It's really, hey, the rolls are the same, figure it out, right? Like do the best that you can. And I really, this is the best roll and write. This is like, you talk about roll and writes, this is number 1. So
I agree.
All right, now let's talk about our number 1. So I played this, and so I knew I like the set collection, and I but every time I encounter it, I haven't felt for the game. Like for some reason, I didn't like the mechanics, or something was kind of off, or there was too much other stuff going on that I couldn't really get into it. And so I finally found a game that I love that's based on set collection, and that is Museum. When I played it, I was like, this, in my mind, was what set collection was supposed to be. I finally found my game for set collection, Museum. It is gorgeous. It is pretty. I love the theme, the fact that you're curating a museum. I'm really not sure how like the Colosseum is in a museum, but hey, we're not gonna
Yeah.
I don't know if they have a shrink ray at this museum or what. But I
like Ant-Man's.
don't know how it ends up being the case, but I absolutely love this game. I love the set collection. I love not only that, but you got the set collection, but you also got placement. And the fact that it's very forgiving, the fact that you can place at the very end so you can make the right configuration that you need. This game's amazing. And it was like searching for the game that I couldn't find.
And it came out of the blue for you too, right?
Yeah.
Right, no, Randy was
no idea.
Forever.
Randy's been like, hey, this museum game, I think you might like it. And I was like, okay. And then we played it and I was like, yeah.
And then while we're playing, I had to look and see there was like a bunch of expansions for it.
And he got
Most
them all
of which are out of
accept.
print, but I was able to track all of it down except the Cthulhu expansion, which actually makes a lot of sense with a museum. And now I'm like, oh, I've got to find that because that's perfect for that.
And I haven't been able to get
And
it.
there's a re-release.
And I've not played it, but I've been wanting to play it and I can't find it.
Hey, I will play it. I will stay up and play it with you tonight.
There's a re-release coming of Museum Pictura, which I've already pre-ordered. I had it on the list
Is that
for
an
Christmas.
expansion, or is that
no? It's
just
a new. They're re-releasing it with some new mechanics, but it's Museum Pictura is the new, and there's already a couple expansions. I think.
Well,
when it
needless
comes
to
out.
say, as soon as that one comes, we will be reviewing that one because yeah. All right, Robert, you're number 1.
All right. It was her number 4, his number 2, my number 1, Hadrian's Wall. Just such an amazing game. It was, I heard I heard that it was a good thing. So I listened to a couple podcasts and they were like, saying this game is fantastic. You have to play it whenever you get a chance. So like, all right, so I took the rest of it, I bought it. Surprisingly expensive for a roll and write. But that's because there's so much paper. Right. I mean, it weighs a ton when you pick up that box. But I would still call it a small box game though, because it's not that big of a box. It's just that
it's heavy.
But it's heavy. But for such a small package, how much game is really involved in that? Just a few cards, just a few meeples, and how much stuff you can do. And it's like some of this great roll and writes where you got these combo-tastic abilities like Ganshan Clever. This has that too. And so I just like do this. Oh, it gives me 2 extra guys, which allows me to do that, which gives me another guy, which allows me to do that. It just blows up in your face, and I love it. Number 1 game. Hadrian's Wall. Awesome.
Yeah, it is
awesome.
It is fantastic. Awesome. All right.
To be fair, Hadrian's Wall is probably my number 1 game if it weren't for the fact that this one's out, because this game, there was no chance it's not being my number 1.
Right.
And that's because
for him, it's understandable.
It's in essence a re-release of Battlestar Galactica,
right.
And that is unfathomable. I bought it knowing that it was just going to be Battlestar Galactica again, but I was surprised there's actually some differences in the gameplay.
Mm-hmm. It made it a lot more approachable.
It makes it more approachable, and if anything, I can get more people to play a game that I love. That makes it on my list.
I will say I would be willing to play that for his birthday and versus Battlestar.
I have to play Battlestar for his birthday. She wouldn't do it.
Hey, there was enough players where I didn't have to.
So, I've gotten Unfathomable to table several times since I got it now, and everybody who's played it has loved it.
Yeah, most people.
I didn't love it, but I would definitely play it above and beyond Battlestar.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing is I'm so glad that you found a game that we can tolerate for you.
Yeah. But still gets that itch that you love about that game so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I just hate being in the brig with the whole entire game. Randy, even though you're the traitor. So, all right. Well, guys, thank you so much. We had a blast sharing our top 10. It was so much fun. I will say, while we were making this list, all I wanted to be is like, can we play these again? It's like, can we?
All of them today.
But we won't have time because we got so many other games we have to play and review.
I know. We have like 3 slated for today. I don't know.
I'm super excited about the next one.
Oh my gosh. I know you are.
We get to go back to the vintage vault.
He's way too excited about this, guys. Save us. All right. Thank you guys so much. We hope you have a great time. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. Number 10. Randy, what you got?
I thought you were starting.
You said you were starting. You said I always start. I specifically asked who's going to start this, and you said I always start.
I do the intros.
I said who's going to start?
He did. You said you would.
Whose list is going first, and you said I always go first.
So what's your number 10? Dragonmother.
So
are we cutting stuff in or out?
We're going to have to cut this out.
Why are we going to cut it out?
We need to determine the order. I asked you, what's the order going to be? And you said, I'm going first.
I'm just directing it. So I'm directing it.
Well, then you don't call on me when you say you're going first.
I literally...
No, I normally I'll back you up. But Randy's got the right of it.
Okay, fine.
I heard
first.
Series.
Well, right, but still, I think that it was a good outing for the first.
It was definitely
series.
a good outing.
It's on my top 10 too.
Yeah.
It's on my honorable mention. So I think that one was very good. It was definitely called out in my list. All right, so let's talk about number 9 for us. And for me, I wrote Korra. So
I thought you just said it was an honorable mention.
I honorably mentioned it number 9.
I put it in here.
Okay, how are we going to edit this one out?
We're not. This is a perfect blooper.
No, that still has to be edited.
No, it's great. I'll leave it alone.
I'll choose a different number 9.
No, you got to keep your order. We just got to figure out how to.
It's on my honorable mention. Now number 9 is Korra.
I forgot what he said.
Thank you for listening to me. You have no idea what game I was talking about, but it was an honorable mention for you.
I remember the yellow and the whatever. Because you said like a long name, and I only have.
It was literally the next one on your list.